Hello, welcome to Tenerife. I've just finished the Gran Guanche Road Audax, which is an event across all the Canary Islands, and this is the bike and the gear that I used for the trip. So the Gran Guanche Road Audax is a 750k event across 5 of the Canary Islands, and as it's primarily on roads, the road bike is the best option for this. The tarmac here is really good, really fast, and there's a hell of a lot of climbing, so I've tried to keep it as lightweight as possible. And accommodation is really easy to find, so I've not got any sleeping gear or anything like that. So as you can see, it's a pretty compact and light setup. So the bike I'm riding is my Mason Resolution. So this is Mason's steel road bike. I've actually been training on it all winter, so I had to take the mud guards off and the winter wheels off for this event. And as you can see, I've gone for some nice fast Hunt sub 50 wheels. So these are the top end aero race wheel set. And I'm running 30mm tyres. These are Hutchinson Blackbirds. I probably would have fitted 32mm, but these were already on the wheel set and they're pretty much brand new. So I just stuck with what I had. So I've also upgraded all the bearings on the bike. So I'm running Enduro bearings. So I've got the Max Hit stainless steel bottom bracket in there. And I've also upgraded the wheels. So in the wheels, I'm running the XD15 ceramic hybrid bearings. And yeah, they're running super smooth and yeah, really love them and no problems with them. I've also got the Swiss stop rotors fitted. Now I've only got 140mm rotors on this bike. It's normally adequate for when I'm at home in the UK. And actually on these long descents, using the Swiss stop, there were the yellow compound pads and their rotors. There was no problem once they got hot, no squeaking and no squealing, and always really reliable performance. So yeah, definitely recommend the Swiss stop rotors and brake pads. Also, as you can see, I'm running 2 bottles. They're just 750ml bottles, more than enough for what I needed on this particular event. Obviously, these are Torque branded ones. I started with a load of Torque energy products, so like the flapjacks and bars and some drink in the bottles. And yeah, that was enough water for this event. The group set is a Shimano Ultegra 11-speed. Again, this has been on there for a good couple of years. It's an 11 to 30 tooth cassette. I could have done with a couple of extra gears if I'm totally honest, and a 52-36 chain set. So yeah, the steeper climbs were a bit of a grind, but it wasn't too much of a problem. Cockpit, I've got the Ritchie, they're kind of like a semi-aero road bar and Ritchie stem on there. I really like the semi-aero design, quite comfortable on the tops, and the drop's quite nice. Contact points, I've got the Ergon bar tape on there, and I've got the Ergon SR Pro saddle. Again, I find this pretty comfy on the road, and you know, no saddle or hand issues on this trip. And then I've got, on the cockpit, I've got my Wahoo Roam. I think it's a Roam V2. As I said in my last bike check, I had been experimenting with a Coros Dura, but I just decided for this trip, with all the accommodation, it's easy to recharge stuff. For example, on the ferries, the battery life wasn't the main factor. So I went for my Wahoo. I just prefer the maps. So I think it's better at navigation and those kind of things. So yeah, back on the Wahoo this time. Lighting, I've got my Exposure Diablo. Now I had a bit of an incident on Fuerteventura. I hit a bump and it fell off, and then a car ran over it. So as you can see, the light is now a bit smashed up, which is a shame because I've had that since 2011. But amazingly, despite being run over by a car, it still works. Although I think that's probably met the end of its life now. On the rear, I've got the Exposure Boost R, pretty good light, and yeah, loads of battery life. And then just a tiny little blinker on the back of the saddlebag here. The event stipulates you need 2 rear lights, so this one's just to kind of meet those regulations. I've got a little design saddle pack here. In here, I've just got 2 inner tubes and a multi-tool and a tyre lever, stuff like that. And then, as you can see, I'm running tailfin bags. So I've got the tailfin frame bag. This is the half frame bag. This is the biggest size they do. And then also the top tube bag, the long top tube bag. This is the middle size. And in there, I could fit everything I needed for the trip. So now I'll run you through the bags. So in the main bag, this was my layers. First off, this was the Albion Pertex Gilet. It's really good just to either chuck in the frame bag or in the rear pocket. I chuck this on descents. It's pretty warm and you sweat quite a lot on the climbs. So this was good just to take the chill off. You could be descending for like 30 minutes at a time. So yeah, that was quick and easy to get to. My warm layer was the Albion Ultralight Insulated Jacket. Again, it's about 100 grams, super compact. I either put it in my rear jersey pocket or in the frame bag, depending on how often I was putting it on and off. And yeah, really good piece of kit. Also good to wear on the ferries, so you have to connect the islands with ferries. So often you're sitting around on the dockside, so just chucking this on gets a bit of warmth in. So yeah, recommend that piece of kit. Then I had a rain jacket. So this is just the Albion Pertex rain jacket. Just enough to take the wind off. We didn't actually get any rain on this event. However, we are, well, we're on Tenerife now. We crossed over Mount Teide. It can be pretty bad up there if the weather closes in. You're at 2,500 meters. So I think I wore this once or twice, again, mainly on some of the faster descents. But thankfully we didn't need it to protect from the rain. As part of the stipulated event equipment, you needed a high-vis jersey or jacket or a vest. I didn't read the rules properly, so I brought a high-vis waistband, which I normally use for these events. But I needed a full vest, so I had to go to a petrol station and buy this before the start. In the end, I didn't use it, but it was in there all the time. And I also had rain trousers, rain pants. Again, these were stipulated in the rules, and they were quite useful as a casual pair of trousers off the bike. I didn't have to wear them on the bike, thankfully. But again, if you're stuck on 2,000 meter mountain and you have to descend in the rain, or even just at night, these would have been very valuable. So yeah, that's the Zoa rain pants from Albion. Other things I had, a pair of underpants. So mainly for Manu's benefit. So I was riding with my friend Manu, and this was basically so he didn't have to see me naked every night in a hotel room. I had a foil blanket, again, mandatory equipment. So that just sat in the bottom of the frame bag. I had a small little Albion cap. Again, I didn't actually use this, and I prefer these to the event caps. They're quite lightweight, but I would have worn this if it was sort of raining or really bad weather. And then I had some leg warmers. Use these quite a lot. I like to keep my knees warm, so I use those quite often on the longer descents and early in the morning. And then I had the Albion Active Gaiter. So I wore this quite a lot. Very versatile. Again, keeps the chill off on the descents. And it is a bit of a balaclava as well if you need it. So if it was really cold, I would have worn that over my ears and top of my head. And then finally, the glove selection. I don't like cold hands, so yeah, plenty of gloves. So these are pedal-head ones. These are the Polartec Alpha gloves. So pretty lightweight, but pretty warm for their for the weight of them and the bulk. And then I have I've got some toe covers. Again, no one needs cold toes descending a mountain in the rain, so they're just in there. Got the Albion Zoa backpack. Again, that was useful just going in and out of hotels or the odd food stop. And then I had some arm warmers. These are normally in my back pocket. And then you would have seen these before if you've seen my videos. My Sportful lobster rain shells. Again, I didn't have to use them, but they weigh nothing. They're really compact, so it's just worth having them in there. So that was all my layers. Again, it's pretty much tried and tested, and it worked really well for this event. Onto the top tube bag. So this was things that I wanted close to hand to use sort of during the day while riding. So I've got my camera, trusty film camera. So yeah, there should be some nice photos hopefully once that gets developed. And then I've got a little power bank, just enough to charge a phone if I needed it, or the GPS. But like I said, we were quite often in hotel rooms or on ferries, so I didn't really need to use it too much. And then just the usual sort of spares really. So I've got the dyno plug in case I've punctured, and some spare plugs. There's a tyre lever in case I need to change a tyre. Bit of chain lube, that's just the Squirt wax chain lube. And then kind of like the toiletries, a bit of sunscreen. I've used it all up now, but I just decanted it into a small bottle just to make it a bit more compact. A mini toothpaste, some pseudo creme, luckily didn't have to use it, and then lip balm because the sun and the wind plays havoc on your lips. So yeah, just kept all of those in the top there, so they were quick and easy to get hold of. And then I just had a little mini headlamp. Again, this was mandatory equipment, always useful just in case you need to, either as a backup for your main light, or if you need to fix something on the bike in the dark. And yeah, spare brake pads. And that is pretty much everything I took with me. So that's the bike and gear I use for the Gran Guanche Audax. I'll have a video on the actual event coming out in a few days' time, so keep an eye out for that. And keep an eye out for the discount codes and links. I'll put them on the screen. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.